I didn't expect to be back already, or take so long to come back, but we are back again, as the WCW 2000 Let's Play not only has taken over the spot for the longest running Let's Play series on this channel, but this series will be wrapping up very soon as well. As Siri tries to interrupt the video, I don't know why. But what I can say is this, that Spring Stampede is not the last pay-per-view. Slamboree is the last pay-per-view of the year for the longest running Let's Play series on this channel, as we wrap up WCW 2000. See, the reason why when I started this, the reason why I started WCW 2000 in the first place is simply put because I wanted to stabilize this company. I wanted to make this company better. I wanted to make this company bigger and better, I should say, better than it was. And I wanted to help protect this company from going out of business. And I feel like I'm doing that, or I've done that, by giving Scott Steiner the WCW World Heavyweight title. The only problem now is, because of creative control, I don't know how I can keep Scotty Steiner as WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Let's try the old-fashioned way of keeping Hogan strong and protecting him. And now let's go back and see if Hogan would actually let me keep him strong or protect him, not both. Okay. Well, now I might have just shot myself in the foot with that main event, because that was supposed to be the main event, but I don't know if I can trust Hogan and Steiner now, because in this game it does get affected when the people have, when protect and keep strong are used in the finishing of the angle, it affects the angle. How long can he go? Just as long as Hogan. Well, either way, Stinger is back, and Stinger is ready to go against the total package. Let's just go see what other ones we have. I can do that. Okay. Hot Rod is still here, and Hot Rod is going to interview the newly arrived Mike Awesome and his manager, Jimmy Hart. But not before long does Eddie Guerrero come out and get involved in this segment. I'm going to give him 10 minutes because Piper's here, and I trust him. And I'm actually going to rate Mike Awesome on menacing and not entertainment, because I don't trust Mike Awesome to talk. Ric Flair's injured. What can I do? What can I do? See, this is also the other reason why I'm thinking of ending the series. It's because I've basically ran out of... Well, it's not that I ran out of ideas. The reason why I'm ending the series is because of the simple fact that the point of the series was to stabilize WCW. And I feel like with the establishment of Scott Steiner, with the establishment of Booker T, and with the establishment of others, I feel like that's going to happen, especially now that we're going to have the opportunity to see fresh matches, and with the fact that Goldberg's back, or coming back, Sting's back, Hogan's back, You know, Savage is out of the way, so that opens up... Savage and Piper are out of the way, so that opens up... a... title shot. I mean, main event spot, I should say. I knew you'd be extremely unhappy, but that's why I'm doing it. Because everybody's extremely unhappy in WCW. And how old is he? Yes, I know for the first time I'm actually showing that Dustin Rhodes was the American Nightmare. Do I go this way or do I go that way? You know what? I'm just gonna go that way. Who cares? We're gonna have a few more undercard matches on the show to make sure nobody gets pissed off at me. Stevie Ray up against Canyon. Because who better than Canyon? You know what? Jeff Jarrett's better than Canyon. Or you know something else? Kurt Hennig is even better. Really, Stevie? You're fucking unhappy to lose to Kurt. But. Okay, fine. Jeff Jarrett it is. See, I've learned from other people that having an undercard on a pay-per-view is just a good way to, even if you didn't build up the matches, it's still just a good way to get people on the show. Because the more people you get on the show, the less likely those people that are on the show, is less people that are going to be mad at you for not putting them on the show. You know what I mean? So, in a way, it's beneficial because the more people there are, the less people that you have to worry about. American Nightmare and Diamond. And I think I rethought the finish of the match. This match in particular. I think I'm going to let Hogan win, but by intentional countout. Because at least then the match will be a capable main event because Hogan's winning and I don't have to worry about, any aspect because I'm sure as hell not putting Sting and the total package in the main event. And just to break up the the main event matches, I'm going to book the Cruiserweight title match a little further up the card. Total package. Then I think I'm going to do a backstage segment in between. It's not going to be an interview, it's just going to be a backstage segment with the NWO. Uh-oh. I opened up my web browser. Let's close that out. That's the first time that happened in a while. Well, we have Scott, Brett, Scott, Jeff, and Kevin. No, they're there. They're that. Him. Well, I can't book him here because I have to book him in a hardcore match. Oh, Flair is here. I mean, the feud between Booker T and Stevie Ray and the NWO has been well documented. You know, so I figured, why not book that match? And then I'm going to even give them a video package. Down below, there was something else. What was that other thing that I wanted to book? Oh yeah, Bam Bam Bigelow. But also just because of the fact, excuse me, just because of the fact that I remember a time when Disco Inferno wasn't really used, I'm gonna book him. You know what, and I'm gonna also add Perry Saturn, Dave Finlay. Not this way, this way. And who could forget about the match that I just mentioned, as once again, the reigning, defending, undisputed WCW Hardcore Champion Bam Bam Bigelow makes an open challenge to anybody in the WCW locker room for his WCW Hardcore Championship belt. Has he faced David Flair yet? He has not, but I kind of want to repair David a little bit before I put him in the ring with Hugh Morris. I mean, not Hugh Morris, Bam Bam Bigelow. You know what? No, I am right. It's the opener trying to get on the pay-per-view. Yes, I was eyeing the idea of Bam Bam Bigelow against Dr. Death Steve Williams, but I don't know that I'm actually going to do it because because Doc isn't where he once was, and neither was Bam Bam. But maybe it's not a feud, maybe we just do one match and see where we're at after the match. Excuse me as I stretch. But we, either way, kick off the pay-per-view with a nifty start to the pay-per-view with Jeff Jarrett and Stevie Ray having a solid opening match. Okay. Well, Kimberly was rated on entertainment instead of sex appeal. Because Kimberly can't talk. It's not that she's not good, it's just that she can't talk. Chronic retain the tag team titles against the Filthy Animals. And now we move to Piper's Pit. At first, it's just Jimmy Hart and Mike Awesome. Eddie Guerrero makes his way out to the ring about halfway through the segment. But Piper is asking Jimmy Hart what prompted him to bring Mike Awesome to WCW. And he says, well, Gene, WCW is in a state of panic. WCW is in a state of disarray. And a guy like Mike Awesome is somebody that this company needs to pull them up and push them forward. Because guys that have been here before, that have been here longer, guys that have been here as long as I have, see the writing on the wall, and that if we don't make a change, if stability doesn't find us, if we don't take our opportunity, we might not have a job anymore. And then Eddie comes out, and I give Eddie most of, as you can see, they have complete control over the segment, but I just give Eddie this bullet point of, I worked my ass off to get here, and it's going to take a lot more than you to take me out. But I'm willing and ready for the challenge, so whenever you want to get in the ring with me to try and take this away from me, he holds up the United States title, to try and take this away from me, be my guest. Because you want to say how tough you are. You may be a powerhouse, but I have these people. And I have the ability to know that I've worked my ass off to get here, and I'm not going down without a fight. You know, the scrappy underdog. Oh wow, I didn't expect Chavo to win. No, I didn't pick the winner of the match because it was an undercard match and who cares. But I'm kinda happy Chavo won. Sorry, Sam. Saturn and Finlay are in a feud? I thought Saturn and Finlay was a feud. Alright. Whatever. That moment when you realize why group texts are annoying. But either way, Saturn is the new WCW television champion, and much like Finlay, Saturn is a two-time WCW television champion, as Saturn won the belt back in 1997 when he was still a part of Raven's flock. But now Saturn, a new signee to the WCW to bring depth and once again stability back to the company, is holding the world television title. Speaking of depth and stability, Booker T defeats Scott Hall with which gives Booker his first major win in the WCW, and is step one on him getting revenge on the NWO for injuring him back 2 months ago in the tag team match, which Harlem Heat lost. And because of the match that they lost, they had to disband. But the feud continues as Booker T guaranteed that he'd take down the New World Order. And now we move to Gene Okerlund with the American Nightmare, as Dustin talks about Diamond Dallas Page and his issue with DDP. The fact that DDP was once the upstart, was once the up-and-comer, and now he's part of the problem, not part of the solution. He's part of the reason why this company is failing, not why it's succeeding. And as I mentioned back when I was booking, originally American Nightmare was going to win. But I decided to let Diamond Dallas Page win and kill the feud here. Probably. But either way, we move to the next match, and Bam Bam Bigelow once again issues an open challenge, and as you saw when I was booking, it was accepted by Lash LaRue, as Lash, an opener, is trying to make an impact and get on the card. But of course, Lash LaRue gets beaten down and battered by the reigning, defending WCW Hardcore Champion, Bam Bam Bigelow. And yes, even 4 months into his reign, Bam Bam is still still not good in hardcore matches, but what I have to say to that is, too freaking bad, because at least in the hardcore division, that gives me a reason to keep you, Bam Bam. But now we move forward to the Cruiserweight title match, as Dean Malenko goes up against Taka Michinoku, and Dean Malenko, of course, gets the victory, with help from Isaiah. And a dusty finish ends Taka Michinoku's first chance at the WCW World Cruiserweight Championship. But Dean Malenko keeps it and is still the Cruiserweight champ. And now we move to Sting's first match back from his injury against the Total Package Lex Luger. Actually, I think it was Sting. At this point, I think Sting was filming a movie. I think that's why he disappeared. And yes, in real life, when Sting came back, he didn't start a feud with Luger, or if he did, it was a month feud. But he did end up starting a feud with Vampiro. But I can tell you definitively, that's not going to happen. But either way, Sting gets the victory over the Total Package, and is, I think, possibly ready to move forward. I don't know. Either way, we do move forward, and we continue up the card for this pay-per-view as Hulk Hogan is with Gene Okerlund, and Hulk cuts a promo only like Hulk can, promoting his match later tonight against Scott Steiner for the WCW World Heavyweight title, and then we find our way into the NWO 2000 locker room with Bret Hart, Scott Hall, Jeff Jarrett, Kevin Nash, and Scott Steiner, and they're all talking up the main event tonight, with Scott Steiner going up against Hulk Hogan for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. And Bret tells Scott that the NWO has his back, like always. Good segment, best segment on the card, to be honest. And I'm actually pretty happy, and that's the reason why I chose to keep the NWO together as opposed to keeping Harlem Heat together and splitting the NWO. And here, my friends, is the reason why I let Hulk Hogan win instead of letting Scott Steiner win, because, well, to be fair, there is no way I could have known that it was going to get an 85. There is no way I could have known it was going to get an 85. But what I can say is, when they have the rematch and when they come back, there's no doubt in my mind that Hulk Hogan isn't the one who's going to win. Scott Steiner is the one who's going to win. Because if you look down here, Scott Steiner has an 88 in-ring performance. Hulk Hogan has a 79. There's no way Hulk's going to become champion again, and there's no way Scott Steiner should drop the belt to Hulk Hogan for two reasons. Number one, Steiner's on the up, Hogan's on the down, and number two, dropping the title to Hogan would basically undo everything that I've done thus far in this season and basically push everything back to the starting gate for WCW. Instead of stability, it would be uncertainty, and it would go back to what Jimmy Hart said in the promo, that if we don't prompt change, the ship's going to keep sinking. And Scott Steiner is change. And the fact that Steiner, number one, had his best match yet as champion against Hulk Hogan, which makes me happy, and number two, is still world champion, But there's a reason why Steiner has beaten Ric Flair, has beaten Diamond Dallas Page, has beaten Hulk Hogan. It's because, well, he hasn't beaten Hulk Hogan yet, but it's because beating people like that gives the guy, the new champion, the first time champion, it gives him credibility. And if you build it up the right way, and he wins in a definitive manner, in a good match, it gives him credibility that he didn't have before. In this way, when he drops the belt, he's not gonna be sinking back down to the mid card. He's gonna be up in the main event. He's gonna be a new challenger and a prospective new guy to help build the company around and prepare for the future. Because yes, you may say, oh, Scotty Steiner's 37 or in that area. You're right, but Hulk Hogan's 44. Ric Flair's 51. You know, so yes, the people aren't that young. Scotty's not that young. Book's not that young. But the fact of the matter is, they're all I got. You know, Eddie, he'll be here. He'll likely be up on the top of the card eventually, maybe. But right now, Scott Steiner's leading the charge for the new blood. Booker T's tailing right behind him. 81 final rating, and we increased our popularity in 45 regions. I know that this is the first time in about 2 months that I've done this season, but it's things like this that make me remember why I loved doing this season in the first place. And it's moments like this that make me happy, because it makes me think that the direction I've chosen for WCW is a good direction and the best direction to help rebuild the company and bring them back to their former glory, or even half of their former glory. Because now, what I'm going to do off camera is, I'm going to look to see, because you see 13,000 people up here, I'm going to look to see, because I'm curious, if I've grown the attendance over the last 4 months of WCW, or if the attendance has been steadily around the same amount. But either way, let me know down in the comment section below what you thought of this video and what you've thought of this series so far, and if you would want to see this series end, or if you think this series should continue. Let me know all that down in the comment section, because as always, feedback is more than welcomed and appreciated. But if you don't want to leave a comment, you can always leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this that you can only find right here at Wrestling Express. Till next time, later.